The Leaders Coach podcast is about connecting leaders to an identity that will help transform their leadership by engaging in conversations that lead to opportunities for growth, authenticity, and vulnerability. As we're unlocked, we simultaneously empower others to live and lead unique and authentic lives. Let's go deeper. Welcome to the Leaders Coach podcast with Dr. Shanita Brown. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Leaders Coach podcast with Dr. Shanita Brown. I hope you guys are doing fantastic. I hope you guys have had an amazing day. Hey, check this out. Again, I'm here in Texas and it is hot, but one of my cousins said something, rest in peace. He said that I'm glad I can feel, right? So I'm glad that I can feel the heat to know that it is hot. I am excited to be here again for another episode. We started season 2, and so we are in for a treat. We're in for a roller coaster. And as I mentioned before, we are talking about transformation because it's so important. I think it's definitely needed as we are looking in the trajectory, right, of leadership, what leadership should be, what it is, what it should not be, and all those different things like that. And so I hope you guys were blessed from our last episode. We talked about transformation, the power of the transformed mind. And so today we're going to hop into it. And what we're going to hop into is, I think it's going to be something good that will help you all as you are developing more of who you are becoming and growing as a leader in particular spaces, right? And so today we're going to be just really talking about that identity shift. And in order for an identity to shift, there has to be some transformation. And so we're going to get into that here in just a little bit. But you guys know how we do it. Again, thank you all for tuning in to the Leaders Coach podcast and making it what it is. So we're going to go ahead and start off with our question of the day. Our question of the day. You guys already know how I do this. I pull it up. When I say I pull it up, let me be clear. I go to the website, check it out, and this is the question of the day. And when this question popped up, it really did bless me because I just thought about this. Well, I didn't think, when I say I thought about this, meaning this particular, let me say the question real quick, then y'all will have an idea. All right, so it says, who has helped make your job easier recently? What did they do? And I would say somebody who has helped made my job a little easier over this past school year is actually someone I work with. I won't name drop because I know people from my job listen. So, but it's this particular young lady who has been such a tremendous blessing to me. And the thing about it is, you have sometimes in life you have people. Well, I don't even know if you have people, but you have times and opportunities where who you are draws other people. And I don't even know how this young lady and I, how we connected, but what I do know is something about us drew each other to one another, and we just became good friends. And not only good friends, but this person has really been very helpful to me in my new, I guess I could say that in my new position as it relates to me being a grade level administrator. I'm going into my second year being a grade level administrator. And what that is my job is to oversee my grade level. So I'm responsible for everything that happens and does not happen on my grade level. So last year I was the 11th grade GLA. And this year I will be the senior GLA. And I'm excited about that because I've had my students, the same group of students since their freshman year, and they're going to be seniors. And I told them from their freshman year, I said, man, time flies by. And so I am excited to be able to walk with them on this journey, going into their next chapter. So I looked at it like this. They came into a chapter. We came into a chapter together. Oh, now that I'm thinking about it, because their freshman year, I call it my freshman year because that's when I started the job. So we walked into a chapter together. We have grown and we're walking out of a chapter together. And so I just thought about that. But anyhow, so grade level administrator, and this lady has helped me tremendously with pretty much. It's not even a whole lot I have to ask. She'll just say, hey, I did this, or hey, I did that, or she would just, it's just like she knows what needs to be done and she helps me do it and she helps me out. And those are people that you need in your life, not only in your life, but also as you are shifting, right? Because in a sense, my new duties has caused me to shift. And we're going to talk about that as well. It has caused me to shift. And so, and this person has just been assigned to me, I think divinely from God, right? As I'm shifting and learning something new, this person, God has just been like, hey, I want to put this person here. As you're learning and shifting here, this person is going to think about the things that you don't think about and be able to help you, right? Oh, that's good. That's good. I don't know who that's for, but that's good. Just to know that whenever you're shifting, whenever you're transitioning, to have people assigned to you as you are shifting and transitioning. And so how does she make my job easier? She makes it easier by writing, coming to certain meetings and typing up the notes and sending and allowing me to, and sending it to me so I can send it out to the parents. She helps me to be organized. She'll email me or give me information about what's coming up and just keeping me on my toes with certain things. And even as I'm doing my Lead Her organization at the school, and I know I posted it on social media, told you guys a little bit about what that is, and I won't go into too many details here today about what it is, but maybe we'll have a conversation about that later on in our episodes, maybe in a future episode. And so she just, it's like it's like an administrative assistant, and she has assisted me and helped me. And so shout out to this lady. I really appreciate you. She knows I always tell her that I appreciate her, because one thing I've learned, and one thing a pastor had told me years ago, he said that people don't have to be nice, but because they are, I am appreciative. So shout out to her. That is somebody who has made my job easier. It's certain things I just don't have to think about. I know my strong suit. I'm an executor, and she just helps with the little details behind the scene and sends it to me, and I'm able to do what it is that I need to do. So shout out to her. All right, so we're going to go ahead and transition into our next segment. And next segment is what inspired you. What inspired you? Guys, my birthday was July the 27th, so it was a few days ago, and I'm telling you, this weekend has been a tremendous weekend for me. Just all of the love. So shout out to my family, shout out to my Aunt Nita. She threw me a surprise quotation, surprise birthday party. And my family showed up, some of my friends showed up, and it was just a phenomenal experience just to be celebrated. Typically, I do celebrate my birthday, but I'm the one that's throwing it for myself or inviting my friends to be a part of the celebration, to be a part of this new year, this new age. But however, she put it all together, and it made me feel good to know that I didn't have to do it to know that somebody wanted to celebrate me. And I think you always need people in your life to do that. And so she put it together. And the good thing about it, I didn't have to put it together. So I didn't have to worry about the RSVPs, the food, all those things like that. I was just taken care of. And I was treated like a queen. And I loved it. I said, ooh, I loved it. And the cake. I'm going to have to post it. I posted it. No, not yet. I will have to post it on our social media page. I want you to see the cake, because the cake lady, the lady who made the cake, she captured who I was. My auntie told her, hey, I need you to put Dr. Shanita Brown, Dr. Shanita N. Brown, DSL, which is Dr. Strategic Leadership, and put a microphone on her. And she said, the cake lady said, microphone? I don't know how to do them. I've never done this before. This is the first time. Cool. All right. So she did it, blew it out the park. And so the lady was looking for different attributes about me and who I was. And the lady who did the cake, because my auntie, she, baby, the whole world knows who her family is, because she posts things. She's always posting things. So she posted, she posts me, of course, over the time. And so the lady went to my Facebook page, and she came up with these words. And she came up with words: educator, motivational speaker, inspiration, coach, counselor, leadership, all these things that encompasses who I am. And when I saw the cake, I did not want to cut it. I was just blown away that someone will see that in me, because it's like innately sometimes that you do these things, but for somebody to point it out and to confirm to you who you are, or who you are, or the character traits that you display, that's phenomenal. And so that blew me away. I was able to go to the Dallas Wings game on Sunday, even though they lost. But the whole idea was just the experience, just to be there. I've been to games before, Dallas Wings games before, but this was my first time this season going. Went to church Sunday. I was the speaker, well, not the guest speaker, but I was the speaker there for the youth and young adults, and taught a good message, and the kids just loved on me and bought me a cake, sung happy birthday, and I just felt so much love. And so when I asked what inspired me was the love, the appreciation, the celebration, because sometimes you don't know what you mean to people because some people don't just go walk around every day, oh, you mean so much to me, blah blah blah, outside of maybe like those close students, but those close people to you, but to hear how the world views you and to see how the world sees you. When I say world, I'm meaning in this sense my world. It means a lot, and for them to say I'm proud, or I had older cousins calling and thanking me and celebrating me and saying you inspired me. It was just so beautiful, and I needed that confirmation. I needed to know that, man, your work is not in vain, but sometimes you want to hear that. Sometimes you want to know that people appreciate you and they celebrate you. So that inspired me. The inspiration was people taking time out of their schedules to come and celebrate such a great moment. And it is a great moment because it is a birthday that you're celebrating. And so extremely blessed by that. So for all of the love that was shown, that was inspired, for how the attributes of how people see me, I was inspired by that, and it continues to help me to keep going on and keep moving and keep pressing on, right? So that's a little bit about what inspired me, and I want to hear what inspired you. What inspires you? You guys can email us at the Leaders Coach at ShanitaBrown.com. You can email us at the Leaders Coach at ShanitaBrown.com. You guys can also hit us up on our Instagram page at the Leaders Coach Pod. Also, you guys can follow me rather on X or Twitter at Dr._Shanita Brown. We want to hear what inspired you. And of course, you guys can also go to the website, theleaderscoachpodcast.com, theleaderscoachpodcast.com. And as you are on there, you can scroll down to the middle of our page and you will share your thoughts. What are your thoughts? Do you have a question? We would love to answer your question. Just like I have the question of the day and I answer the question, I would love to answer your question. Go ahead. Don't be afraid. Hit that click here to leave us a voice message, because you are talking to the Leaders Coach. And I'm telling you, everybody needs a coach. As we're going into this season 2 of the Leaders Coach transformation does not happen unless somebody is walking alongside of you, right? And I say that because when we look at transformation, hopefully you're transforming when you're in your relationships. You're transforming when you are doing everyday life. And when you're doing everyday life, you're not doing life by yourself. You're doing life with people. And as you're doing life with people, guess what? Things are transforming, things are shaking, things are shifting, and you cannot do it without having someone in your life to help you with the transformation, to help you shift. And so if that's you, again, go to the leaderscoachpodcast.com, scroll on down and say, you know what, I want a coach. And specifically, I want Dr. Shanita Brown, because I hear good things about her. I hear that she brings out the best in people. And that's exactly what I do. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and transition to our next segment with what's going on in the world of leadership. What's going on in the world of leadership? And as oh man, this is a tough topic. As y'all know, I am a leadership person. I am not perfect by no means. No means. None of us are. And when I teach leadership, I teach it from the perspective of constantly growing, constantly developing, and not from a place of perfection, because none of us are perfected. None of us have arrived. None of us are there. And so, but one of the things in leadership, what's going on in the world of leadership, and when I do these things, I look for it from trends. What are some trends that are taking place in leadership? Because leadership shifts. Why does leadership shift? It shifts because generations shift, right? People shift. Nothing stays the same. Nothing stays the same. And if you are remaining the same, you are behind. If you are remaining the same, you are behind, my friend. And I'm glad that you're here at the Leaders Coach, so you will not remain the same, so you can continue to transform, grow, and develop. And so one of the things what's going on in the world of leadership is ethics, ethical leadership. And ethics is one of those things that's kind of hard to define, but because it kind of is, it ties in with morals. And so to be ethical means to pretty much it puts you in a position, or it in a mindset rather, what's right or what's wrong. So it's more of a conducting yourself. It's more of a living up to these standards, right? Being in accordance with the rules and standards, and making sure your conduct is in alignment with those rules or standards. I had to teach this lesson last school year to my students about ethics, because if you have a job, every job, hopefully, if your job does not have ethical principles or a handbook, do not tell. You need to call your HR department. But ethics, right? It's just a standard. It's a standard of that particular industry or that particular company. So I use this as an example. I know it's a little far-fetched. I told students, hey, ethically, if you are in the medical field, you have an obligation, you have an oath, you have ethics, you have practices, an obligation to whatever it is. So, for example, if somebody comes in and let's say it is a murderer, for example. A murderer came in and just murdered somebody, but in the process of them being murdered, they hurt themselves. And ethically, according to the standards of that industry, that medical industry, you have to see about this patient, right? No matter the race, the gender, any of those things. And sometimes our ethics and what we believe, our values, sometimes collide, right? And it makes it hard. But ethically, this standard, these rules are in place from the medical perspective, and I have to conduct myself according to that, what's right. This is a person, no matter what they've done, I have to see about them. And so that is really important when it comes down to leadership. And so as I'm getting into what's going on in leadership, just the ethics of leadership, because sometimes it does bump up against, your own personal belief systems. And that's why I think it's so imperative that you find careers, not only, it's about the money, but careers that aligns with your values. So therefore, it won't make it as hard ethically for you to abide by that. And that's going to transition us into our topic for today. Who are you as a leader? Who are you as a leader? Who you are as a leader determines who you are as a person, right? Because your being, who you're doing comes from your being. And it's so important that as your leadership identity evolves, or as your capacity shift, I guess I should say, as your capacity, your calling, and or your assignment shifts, your leadership identity must evolve. It didn't say change. It says evolve. It's important, because who you were to parents, who you were to your kid at 2 years old, is not who you should be to your kid at 22 years old. Because your assignment, your calling, and your capacity as a parent to a now adult has shifted, so your identity has to evolve, right? And so And it's important. So when we talk about identity, we're talking about the fact of being who or what a person think, excuse me, who or what a person or thing is. Who are you? What are you? Well, hopefully you're human, but you know, who are you, right? So is a man thinking in his heart, so is he. So who are you? Do you believe that you are a positive person? Do you believe that you are a caring person, a discerning person, whatever? You are being specific. You are identifying yourself with a trait. So for example, I know I am naturally motivating. So that is who I am, right? That is just wired in me. And so as that is wired in me, that motivation, that identity has to continue to evolve as my assignment, calling, and capacity shifts. Especially as I'm working with this new generation, my I have to shift a little bit more. Excuse me, I have to evolve a little bit more in my leadership identity as it relates to, let's just say, for example, as I've been talking about, motivating. It gets hard because it gets hard, especially with this new generation that's coming up. Motivating them is not as easy as it was 10, 20 years ago. And so as the assignment is this a new mindset of generation, this capacity, this calling. As that is shifting, I have to evolve in the way that I motivate, right? And so that's important as we get ready to go into our leadership, right? So as we are evolving as leaders, as we are understanding who we are as a leader, we have to understand and make sure that we are shifting, we are evolving our identity as things in our lives are shifting. So this is a question I want you to ask yourself. I want you to ask yourself this: who are you becoming as a leader? And are you giving yourself permission to evolve? Who are you becoming as a leader? And are you giving yourself permission to evolve? So think about the things that are think about the things that are happening and shifting in your life. How are you evolving in the midst of the transformation? Because again, the transformation is an alteration. It is a conversion. It is a revision. So in order for transformation to happen, there has to be an identity shift. There has to be an evolving of your identity in order for you to be able to transform. Now my identity, so now I'm thinking when it comes down to my identity, I have to remind myself who I say that I am, so therefore transformation can take place. And the transformation that's taking place is my mind, will, and emotions, my soul that is aligning now with the new identity that is shifting, with the new thing that is evolving, because now my assignment, my calling, my purpose, my capacity is shifting. So as those things are shifting, I have to begin to evolve as I am transforming into this new identity shift, or a deeper version of this identity shift, in order to be able to be the leader that I need to be. How do you know when your leadership identity is shifting? How do you know that you have to now, the old you, or the old way you were thinking, that old way you were thinking within that identity, how does that have to now begin to shift? And when we're talking about identity, who you are at your core is who you are. So you need to make sure that you identify with that. So I am a believer, meaning I believe in Jesus Christ. So my identity in Christ is that I am accepted, I am loved, I am affirmed. And so I have to be rooted in that identity. But what's shifting for me is that I am affirmed. So as I am growing more into who I am being produced as a leader, the part of me that has to be affirmed is not necessarily just found in people, or what, people do or what they don't do. What's beginning to happen in me is that a transformation is happening, and as that change and that alteration is happening, I am becoming that. I am becoming affirmed. I am becoming accepted, because I walk in it and I identify as that. I hope that makes sense to you guys. because identity is a mindset shift into who it is that you are transforming into, right? Identity shift is that mindset shift into who you are transforming into, who you are changing into. So how do you know that your identity in a sense is shifting? Because of your calling, because of these different things. And when I talk about identity shifting, I'm not talking about just the core, but what I'm talking about is the things that comes from how you identify. So you know your identity is shifting. You know your identity is shifting as you are leaning more towards transformation, because what used to energize you feels empty now, right? We often hear people, especially in the church world, I used to always hear this: I don't even have a taste for alcohol no more, right? Or I don't even have a taste for weed no more. I don't even have a taste to sleep around anymore. Because what has happened is their identity, they have identified themselves with how God sees them, right? And as a result, that identity has identity has translated in transformation, in alignment with their with their behaviors, right? And so it's just an upgrade. So how do you know you're shifting? How do you know you're getting ready to transform? You're shifting. These are signs, just like with that caterpillar and that butterfly. A caterpillar knows it's getting ready to turn into a butterfly because there is a shift that's taking place. And in this case, what used to energize you now probably feels a little empty. So you know something is shifting in you. Next, you feel misaligned in the spaces you once fit in. Maybe old friend groups, or maybe old mentor circles, or maybe you've outgrown the familiar, and now you're like, man, something is shifting in me, something is moving in me, because now I'm identifying more with this group, or with this group of people, or with this skill set than I did here, and I no longer fit where I once was, but I'm fitting somewhere else, because where I once was, I'm in misalignment, but now I'm fitting somewhere else. So that's how you know something is shifting, because something in your mind is shifting and taking place, and that shift is being transformed. That shift is transforming you into the person that you need to be. So what leader? So it goes back to the question: who are you as a leader? And then lastly, your purpose is not necessarily changing, but the way you function in the purpose is changing, because now you're seeing yourself in a deeper level, on a deeper level, and your purpose is, I don't know how to say, your purpose is making more sense, right? And I can use me for an example, because I've always known that I've been called to, let's say, preach, okay, for a long time. But as I am developing and growing, right, as I've grown and developed over the years, I see that more and I operate more in it, because now I identify more with who I am, right? And as I'm identifying more with who I am, that is transforming me more into who it is that I'm supposed to be. So I'll leave you guys with this. Don't resist the identity shift. Lean into it, because your identity is shifting who you are, who or what you are, how you identify yourself. It is shifting and transform. And as you are shifting, you are evolving into this new transformed person, or just to this new transformed mindset and person that you need to be for this next level. So embrace it. I want to leave you guys with this question. And with this question, I really want you guys to think about it. And we're going to talk about it in our next episode. Who am I becoming? I want you guys to think about that. Who am I becoming? Think about that as you're shifting, as you're changing, as you're evolving, as you're transforming to be who you need to be for this next level. Who am I becoming? Hey, that's it for the Leaders Coach. Y'all, make sure you guys follow us on Instagram at the Leaders Coach Pod. Make sure you guys go and like our Instagram page. Follow us. Please hit us up on our website, the Leaders Coach Podcast. Let us know what you're thinking. You guys can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere where podcasts are available. The Leaders Coach Podcast with Dr. Shanita Brown is there. We want to hear from you. Comment on our Spotify page. Comment when you guys see the social media posts. Comment, because who are you becoming? All right? That is so important because we're transforming. We're shifting our identity, and we're transforming into something beautiful for not just for us, but for the people that we lead in the generations that are to come. This has been the Leaders Coach with Dr. Shanita Brown. Until next episode, y'all be blessed. This has been the Leaders Coach Podcast with Dr. Shanita Brown.